Hi guys, welcome to Dance Magazine's YouTube channel. My name is Haley Hilton and I am a feature writer here for Dance Media. And starting right now, actually, I am a columnist and vlogger on a new project put out by the brand called Begin Again. And Begin Again is an ongoing series that's chronicling my experience returning to the dance industry after a 9-year struggle with a chronic health condition. I'm really excited to share my experience with you all as I return to the dance world at a time when so many of you are also making your return after the initial lockdown caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. Today I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story, who I am, and what this column and vlog is going to be all about, and I'm really excited, so let's get started. Okay. So, a little bit about me. I am from Salt Lake City, Utah, and I grew up as a convention kid there. And shortly after graduating high school, I danced my first professional job with Odyssey Dance Theater. They're a company in Salt Lake City. And each fall, they put on a big Halloween show titled Thriller, and it is so fun. If you're ever in Utah, I highly recommend going. But my plan was, after I wrapped that season, my hope was to move to New York City and pursue my professional dance career. You know, I'd love to do Broadway, I'd love to do company work, I'd love to do commercial, just really anything I could land, anything anyone would offer me. But unfortunately, things did not work out the way I had hoped. As the season of Thriller went on, it's a very physical, very taxing and demanding performance, demanding show. And during that experience, I started noticing that other dancers' stamina seemed to be building and the show was getting easier for them. But for me, my stamina was really dropping off. I was really struggling. It was really hard for me to get through, and it was getting worse and worse. In the evenings, I was just feeling so sick and so tired, and I didn't know what was going on until finally the last week the stage started spinning and I was completely disoriented. I remember in the final show being concerned that maybe this was dangerous. You know, the choreography was in my muscle memory, but up was down, down was up, and I knew when I finished that day that things were really wrong. And about 3 days later, I had what I call my crash. And what happened was I just essentially couldn't get out of bed. I was so tired. I was sleeping, 20 hours out of my day for the first little while. I was so inflamed and so swollen and in so much pain. I had migraines and brain fog, and my memory was going. I couldn't focus. Every part of me was really struggling, and that started the 1.5-year search for a diagnosis. Unfortunately, one of the hardest things about my condition is it seemed that anytime I did anything physical or taxing, especially physically but also emotionally, I tended to go backwards and feel worse and worse, and it just wasn't getting better. And so heartbreakingly, at the cusp of my career, I had to give up my dreams and my goals for a time at least, because they were making me sick. It was really tragic, and amidst everything I was going through, it was probably the hardest part of it all for me at the time. And for 1.5 years, I went from doctor to doctor and got misdiagnosed so many times. I was put on a bunch of treatment regimens for a slew of conditions, and none of them worked. It seemed that none of it was the answer, until finally I had a doctor say, we've tested you for everything except for this one thing, and it's a long shot, but let's just see if you have Lyme disease. And as it turns out, when I got my blood work, I came back positive. Lyme disease comes from a tick bite. The tick releases a bacteria into your bloodstream, and that bacteria goes into your bloodstream and just kind of wreaks havoc. And unfortunately, the longer you have it, the harder it is to treat. And after 1.5 years, I was in for a long road of treatment. I thought, it'll be just a couple months and I'll be back doing everything I ever dreamed of. But of course, this went on for, I've been sick now for 9 years. I did every antibiotic under the sun. That's how you kill this bacteria. I had a port. I had PICC lines in my arms. I had Hickman's in my chest. I did stem cells. I traveled the country. I traveled the world. I did research studies. I did so many things in search of a cure, but nothing seemed to be effective. And it was really disheartening and really heartbreaking. And at the time, I knew I had to move forward with a plan B in my life. If performing wasn't going to happen, I needed to do something else. And so I pursued a degree in journalism at Brigham Young University while also keeping my feet in the dance world, teaching at Center Stage Performing Arts Studio in Orem, Utah. And after graduating from college, I landed an internship with Dance Spirit magazine that ultimately turned into an editor job with Dance Teacher, which led to my role now as a freelance feature writer for all of the dance media publications: Dance Magazine, Dance Teacher, Dance Spirit, Point. And it has been such a blessing to have these opportunities in my life. It's been devastating that I can't perform, but I've been able to keep my feet in the industry, and I've been able to talk to some of my heroes. I've been able to interview Mia Michaels and Stacey Tukey and Teddy Forrence and Devin Tusher and Sarah Mearns, and it's been incredible. Each of them has shared really powerful pieces of advice for me that I've applied to my life personally as I've dealt with my struggle, and then also hoped that one day I could apply to my life if I ever had the chance to dance again. About a year ago, in the middle of the pandemic, living here in New York City, I heard about a treatment for Lyme disease in Germany, and the idea sounded dangerous and scary, and I was worried, but I had nothing else to lose. I've been very fortunate to find over the last year I have made so much progress and gotten so much better, and it's been a real miracle. And with that miracle has come the slow pathway back to dancing. I started with Instagram live classes and some virtual classes. I love Tyler Peck's class that she does most days, and I feel like that's been my saving grace. Trying to reestablish some of my technique and test out the waters of my flexibility and all those things without pushing myself too hard in fear of going backwards. And then over time, I began adding in more and more classes that were maybe a little bit more physical in my apartment. And as of July, I have been back in studios, taking in-person classes and taking virtual classes in studios on my own that, require full range movement and are more physical, and I'm building up my stamina. Each day, we're taught as dancers when you're coming back from an injury to be really careful so you don't, re-injure or cause other problems. And so I'm trying to be wise about that, but it's happening. The craziest thing about it is it seems like, I'm sure most of our readers kind of understand this, like dance is like inside of us. It feels like it's inside and it's always there. And even if I can't dance at the moment, I knew it was just there, wanting to break free and being able to, maybe not perform yet, but dance again has been such a true gift. But as I've begun training, I have noticed a lot of hurdles that are in my way in my returning to hopefully getting to the stage. And it's interesting that this is all happening right at the same time as the pandemic, when, after the lockdown and shutdown, so many dancers kind of had to disperse. And now, though the pandemic is still ongoing, people are beginning to get back into the theater slowly, and I'm realizing that a lot of people are in a similar position to me coming back into the industry. And so a lot of these questions that I'm facing, you guys might be facing too. I've been noticing, okay, I need to train, I need to get my body back in shape, but the last time that I was dancing professionally, or even right before then, training at a high level, I was dancing 6 days a week, like multiple hours a day, and that's just not financially possible right now for me in New York City. And so how can I train and get my body ready without, breaking the bank? My resume doesn't have a lot on it because I've been sick. over this time. So how do I create a resume in a way that is palatable for agencies to consider me and look at me despite, you know, the wash of the last 9 years? And how to create a reel, because I need a reel to send out to an agency, how to book an agency, how to dance in heels again, how to train in heels again. There have just been so many things. And as a writer, I've noticed that every time I have an experience in the dance industry, it usually clicks in my mind like, ooh, that would be an interesting story. And these things have just kept coming up. And I had this idea that it would be interesting and helpful for me to chronicle my experience in a column and vlog, take you guys along with me as I face these hurdles and I solve them using the experts that I'm connected to through my time as a journalist with dance media, using their advice and also turning to the ghosts of dance magazine articles past to answer hard questions and help me solve them to hopefully get back to a professional career. And film it all and document it all and share it with you guys, and hopefully it helps you guys too. Yeah, it's really surreal to be in this place right now after everything that I have been through. I had this mantra throughout my sickest days. It's from a religious leader in my church, and he says, don't you quit. You keep walking, you keep trying. There's help and happiness ahead. Trust God and believe in good things to come. And I feel like this is one of those good things to come for me. And I'm really happy to get to share it with all of you. And I'm going to have some fun. This is going to be great. I can't wait. So subscribe to this YouTube channel and read my column over at Dance Magazine. It's up now. And come back next month to see what problems we are solving with the help of Dance Magazine experts. Anyway, have a great month. Mwah.